Yeah, Jen, Ben, as we look to another hurricane this week, Connecticut's federal legislators are still focusing on last week. After a push from Blumenthal and his fellow Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, President Biden approved a disaster declaration for Puerto Rico, granting access to individual and public assistance for residents impacted by that storm. But both senators say emergency aid isn't enough.
We cannot abandon our fellow Americans in Puerto Rico at this time of challenge and need.
Those on the ground in Puerto Rico calling Hurricane Fiona and the current situation terrible, describing destroyed homes and people still without power or water over a week after the storm crashed into the territory.
We are human beings. This is a humanitarian crisis. We are citizens of this nation.
Fiona hit nearly 5 years after Hurricane Maria pummeled Puerto Rico, and the island is now picking up the pieces once again. Blumenthal and local leaders applauded last week's disaster declaration, but say more needs to be done, urging Congress to step up.
If we were a state, would this be allowed to continue to happen? If it were a state, if we had more congressional representation, would it continue to happen?
Blumenthal says he spoke with the governor of Puerto Rico and is requesting an immediate provision for food in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program and an amendment to the Bipartisan Budget Act. But he added restoring power and providing relief is just the beginning. He says there needs to be rebuilding.
Puerto Rico lacks representation in the United States Congress. It needs advocates.
Blumenthal says there is enough money for immediate relief in Puerto Rico, but rebuilding will require an additional funding allocation, which is what he's focused on now. I asked him if he anticipates pushback from his Republican colleagues, like Senator Murphy suggested last week. Blumenthal told me this effort should be bipartisan. Live in the newsroom, Emma Wolf-Forst, Fox 61 News.